Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new edition of Sound Off Sports. We got a great show. We're talking Shedeur Sanders, all that drama in Cleveland, plus fantasy football, and a little later, the brand new head baseball coach of Johns Hopkins University, Nate Moberg, joins the show. Let's do this thing. SOS starts right now.
Make some noise. This is Sound Off Sports, sponsored by Sam and Ash.
Can Shedeur Sanders become the starting QB in Cleveland? Josh West on Facebook says, yes, but needs to be eased into the starting role. Browns are notoriously known to throw rookie QBs in immediately and need to get away from that to be able to have a long-term starting QB.
Hello and welcome to Sound Off Sports Inside the Den here, Fox 5 Studios. Mike Davis alongside James Edward Berkman IV. James, looking good with that beautiful tan you got there.
Sir. Been touching a lot of grass over the last 9 days.
You had a good trip.
Got to go fishing down in Baltimore underneath the Bay Bridge there.
There you go.
Did a lot of yard work. I got to put the work when I was back in Pittsburgh.
It's
man.
good. He looks good. I mean, the ladies, gentlemen, everybody take a look at this guy and just how handsome he is. Now, who's not looking good? Well, it's not James Edward Berkman IV. He's looking great.
Yeah.
It's the Cleveland Browns. We asked everybody at home, 702-855-3502, give us a call. We wanted to ask and get your thoughts on whether Shedeur Sanders can become the starting quarterback in Cleveland. Head coach Kevin Stefanski has named 40-year-old Joe Flacco the starter, but we wanted to know, can Shedeur become the starter? Let's hear what one of our voicemails had to say about this, James.
Hello, I'm a CU buff, so I've been following Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter ever since they came to Colorado. I believe that Joe Flacco will be the starting quarterback, but I think that Shedeur has a chance to become the backup for the Browns. I hope that Shedeur gets some maturity as he progresses through his football career. When he was at CU, he had loads and loads, thousands of dollars of parking fines, and I see that he's had gotten 2 speeding tickets going around 100 miles an hour since he's been to Cleveland. But I believe he has loads and loads of talent, and I think that other teams will be sorry in the long run that they didn't choose him. So, Buffs, see you at 00 sometime again, Mike. Bye.
All right, thank you so much for that great call.
Spend a little time at 00.
You
Mike
know
Davis?
what? It's a great pizza place. Good joint.
Never been.
I was there on a date one time. It was a good place. But it's interesting because the caller brings a great point. You know,
He does need to grow up.
He does.
Absolutely.
Parking violations, all these things. It's not good for a quarterback to do that. But Here's my issue with this, James. And it just seems like there's so much clickbait and media craziness around the Shedeur Sanders story. Pete Prisco, an NFL insider, his prediction now that just came out is that he's going to be cut, Shedeur, you know? And it's just crazy because Shedeur gets in that first preseason game, 2 touchdown passes, no turnovers. He looks pretty good.
He looked real good. He looked the part. He looked like the player that he was at all his 2 seasons at Colorado.
Zipping passes into windows, looking
great.
Comfortable. Then Dylan Gabriel, who's drafted 50 spots ahead of him, throws a pick 6, 2 turnovers against the Eagles in a game.
To be fair to Dylan Gabriel, I thought he played overwhelmingly well. Very good on third down. Threw a very, very bad pick 6.
He threw a bad pick.
Very bad pick 6.
But it's still mistakes. Mistakes that Shedeur was not making. Then you have Kenny Pickett. Definitely a bust.
My question about this whole thing is, Kenny Pickett hasn't played all preseason.
He's been hurt with the hamstring.
Is he going to get cut?
Well, there's all this going on. Dylan Gabriel on the sideline saying the entertainers and the competitors thing. Was he talking about Shedeur? Was he talking about the media? We don't know. All this stuff. But
we have a pretty good
at the end of the day, I'm not interested in the craziness of Shedeur and whether he's an adult anymore, because the truth is the adults have left the building.
In Cleveland.
Cleveland is devoid of any adults. For years here in Las Vegas and for the Raiders franchise, it was always about this is a chaotic organization. They're drafting problem players. They're doing all these things. Now we have adults in the building with Pete Carroll. It's a totally different franchise. You got Tom Brady.
Yep.
You got Pete Carroll. You got Geno Smith. It's a completely different feel. let's just talk about all the other stuff that's going on in Cleveland besides Shedeur. Quinshaw Judkins, the running back, 36 overall, second-round pick. He literally is about to get investigated by the NFL for a sexual assault violation that he didn't get criminal charges, but there's going to be probably an investigation by the NFL. So he's not signed. You have Deshaun Watson, the sexual assault violations and allegations against him that he had to settle.
Isaiah Bond, he comes in now.
Well, let me just work through all these. I mean, even just in consequential order, it's like insanity. And now Isaiah Bond, rookie wide receiver from UT, signs a 3-year guaranteed deal. He literally just got indicted by a grand jury for sexual assault. And then he got signed by the Browns. So I'm just trying to understand what's going on. To me, this is like when you go to a restaurant, James, and you're at the restaurant and you're doing your thing. You're at 00.
Right.
We had the caller talk about that. You're at 00, and then there's a party with parents and children, and the children are not well behaved. They're crazy. It's not just like the regular children. They're throwing things. They're insanity is ensuing in this restaurant. At a certain point, it's not the 4-year-old's fault. It's the parents' fault.
Yeah, 100%.
And if they're condoning it, and if they're just letting everything happen, let's, just do another bad thing. Oh, that's okay. Then, of course, it's an issue that the parents have to address. So that's what's the problem in Cleveland. It has nothing to do with...
It's just the irony of it all.
It's not even irony. It's just like they don't care. This organization, it's like, how can every single situation, how can you have 12 things going on?
That's been Cleveland.
That's Cleveland forever, but when is that going to stop? And it's now...
Whenever ownership decides that they want it to stop.
And I just don't want to talk anymore about Shedeur being
too loud and being
because
immature.
You have 12 other things you can point to. So it's just like I'm the least of my worries is whether if Shedeur is better than Joe Flacco and more deserving of a starting quarterback problem. How about off the field stuff with half the team?
I think that's just the irony of it all. Was everybody was concerned, why is Shedeur dropping? Oh, well, he interviewed poorly. He's got a little too much going on around him. He's loud. They don't want their second or third string quarterback being a distraction. Well, nobody thought he would go to Cleveland and be fourth on the totem pole in terms of distractions, where you already have Deshaun Watson, where you already have Quinshaw Judkins, Isaiah Bond, and whoever. I think it's going to be a very interesting final few days of the preseason here in Cleveland in terms of this quarterback room. Because Shedeur came in, played well, had chances to make strides while Gabriel and Pickett were hurt. He comes in, plays really well. It's like, oh boy, here comes Shedeur. Maybe he's working his way up into that QB2, QB3 conversation. Then he gets hurt, misses the second preseason game. Huntley and Gabriel come in. Gabriel plays overwhelmingly pretty well. So, he goes 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Kenny Pickett hasn't played at all. So what is going to happen? Who's going to get cut here? It's very, very interesting. Cleveland has a lot to work through.
Shedeur isn't distracting us from football. Shedeur is distracting us from all the other distractions that are going on in Cleveland. He's literally distracting us from other players with their craziness and their off-the-field issues. But that's all I have to say on the Browns. 702-855-3502. Give us a buzz. Coming up after the break, the new head coach of Johns Hopkins Baseball joins the show.
Can Shedeur Sanders become the starting QB in Cleveland? Roger Dodger on Facebook says, no matter where this kid plays, he's never going to see a Super Bowl or become the MVP or a member of the Hall of Fame.
All right, hello and welcome here inside the den. Mike Davis for Sound Off Sports. I am joined right now not only by one of my best friends on planet Earth, but the new head coach of Johns Hopkins Baseball, the great Nate Molberg, joins me. my childhood friend who's accomplished so much, played college baseball at Rochester, was an assistant working his way up from F&M to Richmond to all these different places. Bucknell, he had a little short stop, and now he is the head coach of Johns Hopkins. Nate, you called this a dream job. Why is this a dream job for you? All these years after investing, working your way up, now you're finally a head coach of a major collegiate program. Why is this a dream job?
First up, Mike, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Appreciate you clarifying that I'm your best friend on planet Earth. I think that was pretty important. That was a good one. I don't know if you had any best friends on other planets, but no, it's really great to be here. I love you, man. It's been a great journey, but yeah, no, I'm really thankful and grateful to be at Johns Hopkins. I think going through my career, I've always really enjoyed and valued the idea of combining high-level baseball achievement along with high-level academic achievement and combining the two in just the highest degree possible. So as I've went through my coaching career, my playing career, those are two areas, academics and baseball, that I've always felt have went hand in hand. When you take care of one area, you can be really successful in the other because it just teaches you the right lessons of how to be responsible and do things the right way. And so for me, Johns Hopkins is really the gold standard of high academic college baseball. It's one of the top 5 ranked academic schools in the country, really known for pre-med and economics and business, computer science, public health. So we attract some of the greatest intellectual students in the world, but on top of that, we were also known for having one of the best baseball programs at the Division III level. So to me, it combines the two areas of my life that I always have had the most passion in, and I'm really excited to work with all of the scholar athletes there to help us achieve our dreams.
Yeah, I mean, and there's nobody better than you to be kind of at that crossover and that cross-section of academics, academia, and athletics, which is crazy because, you're like the perfect friend to have, not only as a friend but as parents are looking to somebody like, okay, like in high school, who do you want your kid hanging out with? To listen to the full interview with Nate Molberg, go to our YouTube page, Silver State Sports. All right, welcome back to Sound Off Sports. So it's the best time of year. It's fantasy football season. We're getting geared up here. Of course, the Fantasy GOAT with myself and Jason Feinberg is going to be starting. James Edward Barrickman, the fourth, a producer of that as well. So, James, we're going to talk right now about the top players we feel at each position, just as a baseline for everybody out there as you're preparing for your own respective fantasy football league. So, here you go. We also wanted to hear your thoughts. 702-855-3502. Always give us a buzz. But here we go. So to me, fantasy football, it's always about trying to maximize value to get that, potential, have the high floor, but also a high ceiling of what can accomplish. So players can accomplish. So let's start with the quarterback position. To me, the no-brainer here is Josh Allen, of course. He didn't have maybe as great as a statistical fantasy season as Lamar Jackson last year, but he was the reigning MVP. He has more career rushing touchdowns than Christian McCaffrey. This guy's got a high floor, a high ceiling. You got to love rooting for a guy like that. And it's just fun to have Josh Allen on your fantasy football team. Then to me, running back, my dude, had it coming off a historic season for a running back, Saquon Barkley. A lot of people have Bijan Robinson, have Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs loses his OC. He, has to split carries in some sort of way with David Montgomery. So to me, a lot of people think Saquon Barkley getting around 500 carries last year, he's going to regress. Well, to me, I could see him even increase his touchdowns. I could see a lot of these things happen, so I'm still on the Saquon train. I don't think there's going to be any regression. Wide receiver, really nothing to talk about. Jamar Chase had one of the best seasons ever for a fantasy wide receiver in recent memory. I think the best since him has been Cooper Kupp in 21 when he had the Triple Crown. But Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, it's an offense you want to be a part of. And lastly, locally here, it's very special. Tight end, Brock Bowers. The guy had literally the best season ever for a rookie when it comes to catching the ball, the most receptions ever for a rookie with 112. And on top of it, the best rookie season ever for a tight end. So this is a guy who only had about 5 touchdowns last year, James. Now you add Geno Smith, you add Chip Kelly, you add a running game. I think Brock Bowers is going to be that Travis Kelce-esque type of tight end player in fantasy football for years to come, where he is a first-round, second-round consideration just for the next 5 to 8 years.
He's definitely that talent-wise. And what's funny about this is we did not discuss this
at all.
What our picks were.
Yeah, no clue.
Coming into this room. So I won't waste everybody's time, but I also have Josh Allen as my QB1. Top of his game, that offense goes as Josh Allen goes. I'm taking Josh Allen as my first QB. Running back, Saquon as well. I know a lot of people like Bijan Robinson. I don't trust that Atlanta coaching staff quite yet. I love Saquon. He's the best running back in the league behind that Philly O-line. My concern is they lose Kellen Moore. Does that offense take a step back? We'll see. I'm still going Saquon. Jamar Chase, top wide receiver for me. Best wide receiver in the league. You got a top 3 quarterback in Joe Burrow throwing him the football. That offense goes as those two go. I'm taking Jamar Chase. Brock Bowers is my top tight end. Best tight end in the league. You talked about the season he's coming off of with like Aiden O'Connell throwing him the football. Now he gets an upgrade in Chip Kelly at OC. Now he gets Geno Smith, an upgraded quarterback, throwing him the football. Brock Bowers is only going to go up from here. So we align on all 4 counts here.
100%. And usually we're pretty similar in our fantasy football outlook a lot of the time. Is there any other piece of advice you want to give to our audience as they are approaching their own fantasy football drafts before we head the break?
We have less than a minute here. I have a question for everybody, but you included. In terms of sleepers, am I allowed to say Colston Loveland and Luther Burden? Are those? I know they're rookies. Can I consider them fantasy sleepers? I'm just really high on the Bears offense. You talk about Caleb Williams. Now you add Ben Johnson into that mix. I'm still a believer in Caleb Williams. I think that offense is going to be electric. I would be looking for Colston Loveland and Luther Burden. Who is Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt that everybody's talking about now?
Brian
That's
Robinson
a big one.
Jr. leaving the Commanders.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on. The Bears are going to be one of those teams where things could really boom or they could really bust. I do have to give credit to Ian Ritchie from Full Time Fantasy, who will be part of our Fantasy GOAT show as well. He was saying, James, as well, Ben Johnson now being the new head coach in Chicago, let's all remember DeAndre Swift had a really good year when he was in Detroit with Ben Johnson. So DeAndre Swift could be another piece of that Chicago puzzle that really pops off. So if Caleb turns it on and Ben Johnson really unlocks this offense, I'm going to want Luther Burden.
I'm buying all of the Bears offense.
Yeah. I'm going to want Roma Dunze, another local guy here. We're going to want a lot of pieces of that, but there is a potential. It just doesn't click the way it clicked in Detroit. So we'll have to see what happens there. Guys, coming up after a short break, more football talk. We're talking Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. All right, welcome back. Time for Sink or Swim here on SOS. So, James, the Colts, a lot of craziness going on there because they can't find their quarterback after Andrew Luck, after Peyton.
It's a scary place to
Manning.
be, quarterback purgatory.
It's sad. You see what happens when you don't have Luck or Peyton Manning. The franchise is in shambles. They draft this guy, Anthony Richardson, out of University of Florida. The dude played like 8 games in college. It was like 8 or 13 or something.
But you saw the talent. I remember the first game I watched Anthony Richardson play. I'm like, that's the next Mahomes.
I mean, huge arm, big body.
Yeah.
But
prototypical what you want.
But consistently injured, makes a lot of bad mistakes, inaccurate. He hasn't transitioned to the NFL well. So they don't know what to do with him. And even last year was a season where a lot of people, especially in fantasy football, people were all in on the Anthony Richardson thing. Now Daniel Jones leaves New York. He's now named the starter for the Colts. And, Daniel Jones, he's not really going to win anything big in the NFL. He's probably a good backup quarterback, but he's
a nice bridge quarterback.
Right. But he's not the starter that you want for your franchise, but he will be the starter this year for the Colts. My question is, and this is what I found fascinating, I got to give a shout out to the Block Spot on Twitter, Sam Block, posted this. Richardson is younger. We've already shipped this guy out. to see. And Richardson is younger than Shedeur, Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel, Tyler Shuck, Caleb, Bo Nix, and Penix. All guys who are either rookies or in their second season. And Anthony Richardson has already been shipped out to see. Have you seen enough? And is the Anthony Richardson being a legit starter in the NFL, is that experiment over? Or should the Colts still be giving this guy a shot?
I don't think the Anthony Richardson experiment should be over. I think that Anthony Richardson is just a casualty of a bigger problem in the NFL where these young kids are taken very high in the NFL draft that aren't complete products yet, and they are projects. And they come in and they don't perform right away. They don't perform in their first season. They don't perform in their second season. People in the NFL want instant gratification, not just the fans, coaches, general managers, because if they're not getting results, they lose their jobs. So I think Anthony Richardson, you look at Trey Lance, other guys like that, you have kids that come in and they don't perform right away. Boom, next thing you know, they're shipped off. They're not playing football in the next 3, 4, 5 seasons. And now you have Shane Steichen and Ballard, who are now making decisions to save their jobs in Indianapolis. And I think that is really what has happened here with the Colts, is where Anthony Richardson hasn't performed. They need to win some games. Daniel Jones, yeah, he's not a franchise QB, but he's probably going to win you more games this season than Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, and I will button that up with just saying another fantasy angle with this. Tyler Warren, another great rookie tight end who was drafted this year. I think it's a much better situation for him. I think this is better for Michael Pittman. This is better for Josh Downs, and this is better for Tyler Warren having Daniel Jones at the helm. Guys, thanks so much for joining us here on Sound Off Sports. Make sure you always give us a buzz, 702-855-3502. For James, I'm Mike Davis. We'll see you next time here in the den for Sound Off Sports.